Hello again, this is Jochen from the Bright team, and we're back with our weekly vlog after an amazing Facebook Live last week with Mia. And we continue with our topic of life satisfaction that we came up with based on your feedback in the Bright group and in the Facebook page of Balanced View. And our guarantee is if you stick with us for this month, you will have an increased life satisfaction regardless of your circumstances, just by testing the instructions, the guidance, the suggestions we're making in the vlogs and in the Facebook group. You will see this increase without any effort on your part. And this week's topic is again based on your activity in the Facebook group. So thank you for co-creating this content together. We'll have another Facebook Live with a special guest on Friday in the Bright community. So be sure to jump into the Facebook group after this vlog and join us there so that you can be with us on Friday. We'd love to answer any questions that you have there. And then in the end of the month, if you want to take this topic even further, we'll also tell you how to do that. Does that sound good? Then let's jump into the first topic for this week, which is work and money. money. Work. This is a topic that is touching so many elements of our life, our strengths, gifts, and talents, our hopes and fears around money, about what we think we need. And, just ask yourself, how much money do you think you need in order to just relax? Or if you're thinking of work as an area of self-fulfillment, self-actualization, how much freedom in your work would you need to be perfectly free, to have that feeling of complete freedom? I'm just reading here now in one of our posts where the question was, or the share was, I want to be happy and fulfilled in all aspects, finding balance, love, and harmony, and I want to be able to support myself using my innate strengths, gifts, and talents. And again, this is so amazing because everybody would like that. I haven't met anybody who does not want that. And yet it's so rare that we as human beings at this day and age have that deep sense of fulfillment, of happiness, of finding balance, love, and harmony in all relationships. So as we go through this week's topic, money and work, I want to share also and enlighten a bit about the principles, the foundational aspects of the Balanced View training to illustrate the key difference of this practice that we're sharing here to most of the things we've done in life before. And I would love to do that by sharing a couple personal stories from my own life with you. So the first situation I want to share about is one that I've been in for the last, 20 years or so. And that is to work closely with people, to give trainings, to be in coaching situations and things like that. And I remember when I started out how just hope and fear were going completely wild. I'm sure everybody who's ever begun a job can relate to this. I gave a training for leadership and team building for young leaders at a car company, and I was so nervous before this that I basically learned the entire material by heart, and I couldn't sleep for a couple nights. And so by the time I got there, I was really tired, and at the same time completely hyped, like filled with this anxiety and nervousness. And I actually managed, to my surprise, to go through this quite well, and it was received really well. But the underlying stress I felt through that hope and fear, through that anxiety, was just mind-boggling. And of course, over time, this somewhat got better. I learned to help myself with what I could see today, basically 2 or 3 strategies. One is whenever I felt I had to, I would indulge these hopes and fears and anxieties with somebody I thought I could share them with. So my dear wife, or with my own coach therapist at the time. And just, yes, I will always have them, and what's wrong with me? I have all these gifts and talents. Why can't I just have complete faith? And so there were all these like complaining, indulgent kinds of strategies to feel better. Another set of strategies which I had applied from the beginning as well was to just avoid them altogether by being really prepared. I thought that by being really prepared and working really hard, that I could then not experience these states at all. I would just, the more I learn, the more I work, the harder I work, the less I would feel anxiety and hope and fear around my professional engagements. Or the third, I would replace these negative states with better states, which, for example, could be a glass of wine or two, or do other things that just make me feel better. But then, of course, whenever I didn't expect it, out of the blue, these fears and anxieties came back. So there was no permanent solution in any of this, even though, as I shared, I was actually quite successful. On the surface, underlying all of this was this nagging, niggling fear and tension within myself that I didn't know what to really do with. Now, fast forward to practicing the Balanced View training for the last 12 years, it is completely miraculous to me that I can enter any kind of circumstance without preparation. I can choose to be prepared, and of course I know what I'm doing, but I feel completely free to be responsive, to be fresh, to be in full relationship with each time, place, and circumstance, with every person I need. And when I reflect on how this happened, is because my faith, trust, and confidence in my strengths, gifts, and talents to always have exactly what I need built into my innate intelligence, to be able to rely on that trust, faith, and confidence has come about by practicing a very simple tool that we share here in Balanced View, which is to recognize our innate clarity, bright, open intelligence for short moments, repeated many times until it is obvious and continuous at all times. Relaxing completely, recognizing innate clarity, wide open alertness, instead of either indulging, avoiding, or replacing hope and fear. So I would go into situations practicing to relax for short moments, practicing to recognize this vast open alertness that is looking through my eyes, instead of focusing on all the hopes and fears and all the data streams. And with this practice, the responsiveness fueled by my strengths, gifts, and talents became so deeply ingrained in my direct experience as a capacity that I always have. Now, the beauty of this obviously is that nothing in my experience had to change in order for me to gain this confidence. So although my same data were streaming, I still had hopes and fears in the beginning due to practicing short moments of open intelligence again and again. Hope and fear and other data streams became less and less compelling or descriptive of what was actually going on for me. The foreground of my experience became this bright, alert knowing. The confidence in my capacity to respond to each time, place, and circumstance was no longer dependent on what I felt and what I thought. And so this is really complete freedom. Remember when I asked in the beginning, how much freedom do you need to feel free? This is complete freedom because it does not depend on circumstances. And the same is true for fulfillment. We can find complete fulfillment, an innate sense of peace and fulfillment, no matter what's going on out there or in here or anywhere. In a short moment of open intelligence, there is complete fulfillment. there is complete peace, there is complete relaxation. And so this is what we suggest for you to test this week, is whenever you think something needs to change, whether it's about you or about the circumstance, in order for you to then feel relaxed or feel good or feel satisfied, take a short moment of open intelligence, take a short moment of complete relaxation, and see what happens. Now, you might think this means you wouldn't make any changes in your life. And I want to be very clear, that's not at all what's happening. However, what changes is we're no longer running around that carrot that we have on that stick, chasing that carrot, where we try to do something in order to then be able to relax. Instead, we start with complete relaxation. We start with a deep, abiding sense of fulfillment, clarity, and satisfaction. And from there, we have a completely different perspective on what changes we can make in life. Our discernment on choosing the next job, choosing the next project, choosing the next partner, if we want one, is entirely different, because we're not driven, we're not chasing based on hope and fear. We're satisfied and fulfilled, and from there we can see how we can be of greatest benefit with our unique capacity, with our unique strengths, gifts, and talents. So test this simple instruction and let us know how it goes in the Facebook group. And now, before I end, I also wanted to share this one story, because we also said we'll talk about money, and that is just so illustrative of my experience of the training. I've always had issues, you could say, around money. No matter how much I had, I always felt it could run out. There was always an underlying hope and fear around this topic. And I did family work and all kinds of other things, so I knew circumstantially why I had these kinds of fears and what had happened in my family and generations back and all of that. But it never really resolved this underlying fear around money. And so a few years into participating in the Balanced View training, my wife and I had a little nest egg of, well, little, it was quite a bit, it was 20,000 euro. And we had that in a savings account, and we said we just don't touch that. It will be for if ever there are any bad times to come, then we would have that money. So one day I was in India, and I remember I received this letter from the bank saying that the bank went bankrupt. And I had never thought that something like this could happen, but that's what had happened. The bank went bankrupt. And so from one day to the other, my bank account, my savings account, our savings account went from 20,000 to zero. And the most baffling response was that I was just laughing. I just thought that this is amazing, a bank that goes bankrupt. And of course, I took all the steps that I could take. I knew the bank was in the bank fund and trust in Europe, and there were certain steps that one could do. But it was 2008, the banking crisis, and so it wasn't really clear how exactly it would work. But again, what surprised me the most was my innate confidence, my trust, and that there was just nothing going on. And I looked a bit on forums, and I could see that so many people were suffering deeply, and I'm sure for good reason in their circumstance as well. But I could see how a few years back, I would have been exactly in the same place, freaking out. And today, or at that time, I realized that actually nothing changes. A few digits changed on some remote server, but it had no impact on my day-to-day experience. I thought the money would be for the future. Maybe it will come back, maybe it won't, but it has nothing to do with my immediate circumstance. So that was deeply, deeply confirming for me that the stability of short moments becoming continuous is completely unwavering and completely reliable. So these results are really convincing, whether it's about money or about work or about relationships. Short moments are always ideal because they align us with our innate stability, with our innate relaxation, with our innate confidence, with our innate strengths, gifts, and talents. And so if you want to find out more and you haven't done yet, then join us on the Bright Facebook group. Ask any questions that you might have. And also join us on the Be the Power course, which clarifies what is the short moment, what is open intelligence, how do I actually practice that. All these questions we answer in the Be the Power course, and the link for that is under this video. And then, as I said, ask any questions in the Facebook group. We're also already collecting questions now for our next Facebook Live, which will be on Friday, again with a special guest. And we'll respond to the topics that you bring to us. So, again, thank you for co-creating the content for this month of August, where we speak about different aspects of life satisfaction. We're looking forward to being together with you. And just to end on a lighter note, we did get our money back. The bank trust in Europe paid for those who lost their money in this crisis. But again, for me, the much more important result of this was that I could see that my open intelligence practice had delivered these outstanding results, where I would have been suffering due to this perceived loss. There was complete stability, equanimity, and the power to know and to enact what had to be done without freaking out. So, of course, I was grateful to get the money as well, but this other result was the much more important for me. I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group and meet you on the Facebook Live. And until then, have a great day and week, everybody. Thank you for joining in today.